Welcome to episode 26 of Seeking Focus.
Welcome to Seeking Focus, a podcast that provides photographers and videographers with a place to critically compare technology, share ideas, and enhance their skills.
Okay, this week we're riding solo. Marty's taken a bit of a break, and we've got a special guest in with us today. Let me introduce the famous Izabela, or is it Isabella? Sorry, I keep getting confused. Isabella.
It's definitely a lot.
I just keep, and then I also use Iza,
Yep.
and Iz, and I have so many abbreviations for your name. So Izabela.
Yeah, but it's just Caesar.
Iza. Okay, and I met Iza. How many years ago did I meet you?
I don't know. I think about a year before your daughter was born.
Jeez, she's like 27 now. So it's probably been about 6 or 7 years that I've known you. Yeah.
Do you remember the day we met?
Yeah, it was a Tuesday. It was raining.
No, actually, Marty was shooting in the city. Do you remember that?
Yes, yeah, that's right. We actually met at a photo
walk
or
yeah,
photo
that
workshop.
he was running.
Yeah, he was running one, and I was there assisting.
Yeah.
I'm always the assistant, never the actual runner. And we met on that night. You tried to speak to me, and I was really rude to you.
No, you actually, Marty said, I'll be 1 sec. Can you go and say hi to Evan? And I walked up to you, because he pointed out who you were. And I go, hello, Evan. And you said, do I know you?
Always on the defensive like I am, yeah.
Like, ooh.
But we hit it off. We became pretty good friends. We've gone off and done quite a few shoots together. We've worked together on commercial projects.
Yes.
You don't do any more commercial stuff nowadays.
I stay away from them.
Stay away. Why do you stay away from them?
That's a whole another story. But
Does it involve trauma?
yes, it does.
It does. Okay. So you were traumatized by a client or an event, or
an event and a client. Yeah, it was not something I would like to repeat. I think it's got me for life. So yeah, I still love photography though.
And you still do photography. You still do some amazing landscape photography. So you don't do commercial stuff anymore, but you do landscape photography.
I do. I think it's just more purely for pleasure. Just something I like doing in my spare time and getting out,
Getting out. Yeah. Well, landscape photography is probably one of my favourite type of photography styles. I actually don't sell my landscape stuff, which is a bit of a shame, but I absolutely adore it, and it is my first love. And I do a lot of corporate stuff, so I don't get a chance to do that much landscape work.
I've noticed.
You've noticed that I did recently post some stuff up, but we won't go into that. But the reason we've got you on the show is because recently you decided that you were going to travel and do some landscape photography overseas. So this episode is about your experience in which country?
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
That was a lot of fun.
Have you picked up the accent?
No.
Can you say cuz?
No,
Cuz?
I don't go there. But every time I bring my New Zealand Safeway bag, which is New World over there, I get all the New Zealanders saying hello in Coles or Safeway. Funny as.
Okay, so the question for us is, you decided to go to New Zealand. Why did you choose, of all the different countries in the world, New Zealand?
I don't know. I believe in karma, first of all. I believe in things happening for a reason. And I think, like everybody else, I guess, with COVID and everything else, we were all stuck at home, unable to go anywhere, unable to travel. And I actually didn't have a holiday at work for probably 2-3 years, and then one day I just woke up and I thought, I want to do this. I want to go somewhere.
But why New Zealand?
Because that's always been on my bucket list.
I mean, you could have gone to the Maldives, France.
No, I love mountains, first of all.
Okay, so you're like me, a mountain person.
I love mountains, especially if they've got snow on the peaks. That's just me squealing in the car all the way up the mountain.
like a kid at a park.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So you chose New Zealand. What part of New Zealand did you go to?
South Island.
South Island.
Yeah.
So is that more picturesque than the north, or?
I don't think so, but it's more. I think it had more glaciers, more mountains, more snow. It was just, I don't know. Plus, it had Milford Sound. I've been in love with Milford Sound ever since I've seen a picture of it. A friend who's travelled, and I thought, oh my God, that just looks amazing.
Sorry, when you say Milford Sound, can you break that down for me? Because for me, it sounds like a rock band.
It's Milford, so Milford.
Milford?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Sound. As in Sound.
Okay, and it's not a rock band?
No, definitely not.
So what is it?
I've shown you photos.
Can you explain it for the people who can't see the photos?
Oh, it's just amazing. It's just an area that's got fjords and waterfalls.
Fjords?
Yeah, fjords.
What the hell is a fjord? These are terminologies that I've never heard. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people out there who probably don't have the faintest idea what these things are. So you've got to break them down for us.
It's humongous mountains that are covered in forests and greenery and rockery, and they've got little branches off that you can actually take a boat through and explore those. But it just looks like something out of a movie. It looks absolutely amazing.
So very picturesque.
Very, very much. It looks like another world, like the land before time. It just looks amazing.
Okay, you sold me on this. So the problem with travelling, though, is the countries have so much to see and do. Right, and you're limited in your time. So how long did you go for in this particular instance?
I think it was 12 days.
12 days
12 days.
To travel around such a big area. I mean, how did you break it down? What was the highlights that you went off and
well, originally I wanted to go with a friend. We're going to rent a car and just go for a few weeks, I guess.
So what happened to the friend? Did you kill him? Push him off a cliff?
No. She actually went overseas to live, so that sort of fell apart. And then I thought, well, doesn't matter, I'll take my daughter. But then my daughter couldn't get ready in time or couldn't get time off.
Yeah, my daughter can never get ready. I'm like, come on, school's starting in 5 minutes. And she's never ready, so I can relate to that.
Yeah, well, she wanted to, but she's more of a, lie down at the resort, a few drinks with the little umbrellas.
As opposed to us who like to trek. And
and I'm like, I can't sit still. I want to go there and explore. So I thought, well, now do I want to go with someone else or not? So I sort of had a look at different companies who ran workshops and everything else, and I didn't want anything big. I'm an introvert, so I prefer to small groups.
I love the way you say you're an introvert, but when I got here, you were tabletop dancing before.
Oh yeah,
shaking in it. So which company did you end up going with?
I don't know why I'm saying we. There's only me.
Well, you joined the group, I'm presuming. So
me and my camera.
You're very close to your camera.
Well, there wasn't much available because it was. I'm the sort of person that sort of suddenly decides and, you want to go. But normally these events are booked out in advance, and it's months in advance, sometimes years, depending on who you go with. So I had a look at what's available, and there wasn't nothing till the following year. And then I went on YouTube and I thought I'll just do a bit of research and see where else I would like to go. And I came across William Patino Photography and workshops.
Sorry, let me. William
Patino. Yeah.
William Patino. And Marty was telling me about this guy, and he's telling me how well known he is and stuff. I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
But then again, I've got my head in a hole most of the time. So
yeah. Look, and I.
He is well known, obviously.
He is,
because I mean, because I haven't heard of him doesn't mean he's not well known. But other people have said, "Yeah, I know that guy," and I'm like, "Who is he?" So
he is, but he's so much more than that. I was drawn to his little YouTube videos because he's got this calming aura about him. Like, he's so down to earth and he's so humble, and it's quite rare these days. Everybody's, I'm this, I'm that.
You mean he's like me?
Yeah. So, and I kind of I felt relaxed watching his videos, and I thought, I wonder if he's got any upcoming trips coming up. So I sent him an email, and he's replied that unfortunately he didn't, and until next year. And then I think it was maybe 2-3 days, suddenly an opening happened. So someone's obviously cancelled a trip, couldn't go, and I thought, oh, mine.
The funny thing is, you're a very meek sort of person, and to hear you saying, it's actually So obviously, this trip was something that you really wanted to do. So
I had this pull, like this thing inside me, like I want to go, I have to go. It wasn't just even I want to go; it was I have to go. And so he sent me an email. He goes, "Look, there's a cancellation," and I thought, "Oh, when?" And
it's next week.
He's given me the dates, and unfortunately, it's sort of half ran into our blockout period at work. And I thought, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to get time off. So I placed a call to my manager, and I said, "Reese, I like you, yeah?" He's going, "What's going on?" I said, I need this time off. It's only a few days into the blockout, but can you do anything? Anyway, he goes, "I'll do my best." So the next day, he's rang me and he goes, "I'm sorry, but Sydney said no." So our head office is in Sydney. And I thought, okay, I wasn't going to get my hopes up, but I thought, no, I really wanted this. And then 2 hours later, he rang me. He goes, I actually placed a call to the manager. He goes, "You've done so much for me that I just felt like, I needed to do something for you and you deserve this." And he goes, "You can go." And I'm like, yes!
It's still, to this day, seeing you happy like that it's just freaky, because I'm just not used to you celebrating the way you do. All right, so you got in contact with this guy. Can I ask, was it expensive?
It was, but for me, since I haven't been out or anywhere else for a couple of years, I thought, this is worth it. It's something that's inside me that I want to do for myself, and it was worth it, considering there is the accommodation was included also for helicopter flights.
Helicopter flights in themselves are extremely expensive, as I discovered.
They are. And not only that, another bonus for me was that the tour was actually just 4 people. So that's including me, not including Will. And I thought, this is perfect, because it's just a small, intimate group, and I just couldn't believe it. So I thought, yes.
Okay, so 12 days, where did you go?
Okay, so we went up to the east coast and up from there, so through Wanaka, via Haas, Mount Cook, the glacier, and then we sort of worked our way down again to south to Milford Sound.
Not the rock band.
Pardon?
Not the rock band.
No, not the rock band. Definitely not. So it was just, we didn't stay for more than a day at each place, and it was just amazing. But we did stay away from the touristy places. So even the Wanaka tree, the famous Wanaka tree, we were there, I think, about 11 o'clock just for lunch. We stopped for lunch there, and there was middle of the day, and there was about 30, 40 photographers just sitting there.
So this is not a touristy place, but there was 30, 40 photographers.
Yeah, the famous Wanaka tree. And you even during the middle of the day, when it's the worst possible time to shoot.
Yeah, well.
And, you've got to fight for a place. But we went for a walk and made a glimpse and enjoyed it, and moved on.
Wow, okay. So out of all these places that you went to, which was your favourite?
I can't pinpoint one.
There must have been
two.
one.
Two.
Okay, so there was 2.
So Milford Sound, definitely. Everyone usually goes during summer when it's beautiful sunsets, and you get on a boat and you cruise around the Milford Sound area. And it's amazing. We went when it was raining. And I thought, we're going when it's raining? And Will just said, just wait till you see it. He goes, during the rain, nobody wants to go during the rain, but there's hundreds and hundreds of waterfalls coming down the mountains. At that time, it's just absolutely amazing, and he was so right. Like, as nice as sunsets and sunrises are, it just looked so moody and so beautiful. It was incredible. And the other place was Mount Cook.
What was special about Mount Cook?
I don't know, just the whole shape of it, the fact that the snow was still clinging and it's almost touching the clouds. Like the clouds, you don't have a shortage of clouds in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike in Australia, you get up and you're thinking, oh, are we going to have clouds this morning or are we not? And, you take a gamble.
Sorry, I'm going to cut you short there because we have a lot of people who are still learning about photography. Why is it important to have clouds?
Well, you've got it just brings another dimension to your photography. Oh my God, I can't speak. Don't mind me, I've only had 2 hours sleep. But and it's you don't want a bare sky. It just doesn't bring anything to the photo.
But for sunsets, it also does add something to it?
It does. It adds lots of colour, but most importantly, dimension, I think. It just makes it more incredible than, a
flat
sky.
blue sky or a grey
exactly.
sky. Or, yeah, that's understandable. All right, so they're your 2 favourite places. Would you go back to them a second time? Same places?
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
Oh, so you're going back?
I am going back. I just don't feel like I'm finished. We've seen a lot, but I didn't want to go home.
So are you going to go to the same places again, or are you going to go to other places?
But even if we do visit some of the places that we've been to, as you know yourself, the weather's never the same. Each place is never the same. The light's never the same.
Yep. It's
different every time, but I absolutely loved it. It was just incredible. Even flying over the glacier. You don't have words to actually describe it. Well, at least I don't.
With the flying over the glacier, was it a glass-bottom helicopter?
No.
So you couldn't see straight down?
No. We actually took the doors off.
Took the doors off?
Yeah.
You're not scared of heights, are you?
I've never been in a helicopter in my life.
So how did you find the experience?
Well, my first thought was, as I slid into the seat, I thought, wow, they like leather. They don't actually grip you, sliding everywhere.
But you have a seatbelt that holds you in place.
Yeah, but it's one of those seatbelts that, it's got that little clip.
The aeroplane type, yeah.
Yeah, God forbid you touch it. Forget it, you're flying out the door.
I could see you clawing at the windows. But
yeah, I think my first 10 minutes I was gripping the seat in front of me, nearly making a hole in it. That's how hard I was gripping it. But oh my God.
So were you able to take photos from the helicopter as you were flying?
So we couldn't, we obviously had to remove all items that could possibly be dropped or fly out, just for safety reasons. So no lens caps, no glasses and that sort of thing. Everything had to be secure. And then we flew up, and once that icy winds hit you, I don't know how people do it in winter. I don't think you could. Because it was like minus 50 degrees just blowing in your face.
I travelled over the Himalayas in a light plane, which was, I think it was a total of about 3.5 metres long. And the windows rolled down like a car. And I literally hung out, and I think it was minus 30 to 50 degrees. And within 3 to 4 seconds of having your hands out the window holding your camera, you could feel the wind burn through the actual snow gloves. It was horrible. So flying without the doors would probably have not been as enjoyable as it sounds.
No, but you look like you slightly open your eye and you can see out of the corner, like, oh my God, look at those mountains down there.
So were your eyes closed because you were scared shitless, or was it because they were frozen shut?
You couldn't open because both doors were open, so the wind's just blowing right through. Like in a house, you open both doors, and wow, it was just, it just felt like someone's throwing icy needles at you.
Yes. I know that feeling quite well.
And I remember thinking, open those eyes. But
they were frozen.
And I'm thinking,
shut?
is my finger frozen? Can I press the shutter?
So did you actually get any decent photos from
I did.
You did?
Yeah,
I haven't seen any helicopter shots.
I've actually taken quite a bit, considering.
All right, so you've actually released a couple of these photos. So if anyone's actually looking to see what it looks like, all these different places, you've got them available somewhere on your Facebook page?
Yeah, you can go to Izabela M for Mary Photography, and you'll find me there and the photos. So there's quite a lot from this trip from different areas.
Is that on Facebook or Instagram?
Both.
So it's Izabela M Photography.
Yeah,
on both
underscore photography on Insta. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
but there's quite a bit.
And can people reach out to you if they've got any questions?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Of course, will you actually respond to them, though?
Yeah, I will. It might not be that day, but yes.
Oh, you're so nice to people. All right, so I did hear a story, completely breaking away from the photography, that you were one morning trying to make a toasted cheese sandwich.
I think, when you go away somewhere and obviously whether you're sightseeing or doing photography or whatever else, hiking, you sort of, well, maybe not hiking, but you get sick of the restaurant food, even though it's, a different restaurant. Well, I do anyway. I was homesick for some toast. And I thought, we've come back early because the weather was really crappy that day, and I thought I'll go to the supermarket, get some sourdough because that's what I was craving, some cheese, tomato, some salami. So I did, and brought it back to my hotel.
And for people who don't know you, you're European, so that's where the salami and the cheese and the bread comes into it. All right.
It does. I'm a foodie. I love my food. And come back to the hotel, and I thought, yes. And then I looked around, and this was the only hotel we stayed at that had no toaster. And I'm like, no.
I have my bread, my cheese, my ham.
No. And I was quite disappointed. And I thought, no, I'm going to go down to reception. So I went down to reception, and a lady, nice lady there, said, I'm sorry, we don't, but maybe you can go in the kitchen. They open in a couple of hours. They might have something there you can use. And I thought, no, I'm hungry now. I want to eat. So I thought, I don't know, I had my grandma's voice in my head that time, and he just said, where there's a will, there's a way. So I went back upstairs, and I thought, right. So I looked around, there was nothing there, and then I thought, I've got an idea. Anyway, the next morning we got in the car, and I had toasted sandwiches. Mind you, I had them for dinner too, but in the morning, and everyone gets in the car and they're going, what's that smell? I can smell toast like cheese. And I'm like, that's my breakfast. And they go, didn't you say there's no toaster in the thing? I said, yep. So where'd you get toasted bread? It's everything's closed at this hour. And I'm like, guess where? The iron. They go, what?
What iron? What were you talking about, the iron?
I just ironed my bread, and
like the cloves iron.
Yes, yeah, I did wash it firsthand. But then
did you wash it afterwards?
Yes, of course.
As the next person doing their business shirt with ham and salami and...
Yeah, no, so we had a bit of fun. They kept asking me if I'm going to iron my sandwiches and the rest of the food for the rest of the trip. But we had a good laugh. But hey, as she said, where there's a will, there is a way.
That's photographer ingenuity at its greatest. Then.
Yeah, well, we often have problems, so we've got to work out, how to deal with them, and this was one of them. For me, food is important.
That is important. I have a question for people who look. You went on a trip which was basically, you could do everything that you wanted to, helicopters, and it was extreme. It was like full on. But for people who can't afford, and let's be honest, some of these trips are actually very, very costly. When I travel, I like to travel like an animal. Worst possible hotels, eat the worst possible food, save every cent that I can so that I can get to more locations. So I'm not the type of person who would go somewhere and spend lots of money. If I wanted to go there and do it on the cheap, can you do it, or would you say it's not going to be something that you can do on the cheap?
Oh, look, you can, but it really, you'd probably see more in the time. But I think it's a lot about the experience as well. You're not wasting time looking for places as a photographer, not as a normal tourist. I suppose that you can go anywhere and you're happy because you're seeing something new. But as a photographer, you don't waste time looking for good locations. You don't have times.
But you can do your research before you get there and not go on a tour.
But I absolutely loved the fact that, all I had to do was get in the car and just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
Like
someone else was driving.
Limousine, yeah?
No. We had a van.
It was limousine van, yeah.
I'm not a person who likes to stay in, 5-star hotels either, but this was important to me from another aspect.
So basically, because it was important, you were willing to splurge. So that's fair enough. That's cool.
Yeah. I went without other things so I can have that.
Like
Because
toasted cheese sandwiches.
yeah, well, exactly right. Like I didn't have to, I'm happy with a sandwich. I don't have to eat in a restaurant. But it was nice. But over time, I'm just a little homebody. I like to make my own sandwiches.
No, understandable. So
Yeah.
if I was to go there, and I basically had a little bit more time up my sleeve, because obviously if I'm not going to, I'm not going to get the direct route that you had where someone would take you to the exact places the fastest way possible, and cram everything in for you, which is the best way to do it, obviously. But if I had more time up my sleeves, could I hire a car and drive to these places? Do you think that?
Yeah, you can.
It just take a lot longer.
And yeah, it would. And I think Will, being based in Te Anau, he's originally from Wollongong. He knows all the little spots that people don't, flock to.
You don't have to worry about beating off.
Exactly. To be honest, another aspect of this trip was the fact that we didn't. Some places it was just us. There was nobody else, and it was just brilliant. I just loved it. It was just so relaxing. We took our time. We explored. We enjoyed. And I can't stand places where there's people upon people where you can't even move.
Yeah, I recently had an experience where I went to, I was travelling with family, so I was doing the family thing, dropping in a few photos here and there, and I ended up at a couple of sites where there was hundreds upon hundreds of people trying to take the same photo. And it got to the point where people were actually jumping over barricades to take the photo, and they were actually trampling all over the vegetation. They were destroying everything around to get a better shot, which was a shame because obviously they're destroying the environment while they're there. The thing that actually caught my attention though was the people who were jumping over the barriers and destroying the thing were actually shooting with a mobile phone.
Wow.
So what exactly are you trying to take a photo with a mobile phone that you need to destroy the environment to get that photo? It's like, it was just bizarre. But so you could do it, but you'd end up spending more time, probably more money in the long run.
Well, look, food is not cheap in New Zealand, I have to say.
On par to Australia or more expensive?
More. Like, I went to, for example, one little tub of yogurt, a single tub of yogurt was like $7, so...
Are we talking one of those little kids?
Yeah. Well, not kids, not a tiny one, but like a normal size little yogurt.
They're like $3 here in Australia.
Yeah. So
dairy stuff is expensive in New Zealand.
Well, not dairy, but everything.
Everything.
Food-wise, I think they much more than we are here. However, meals, restaurants and that, it's more or less the same as here.
Okay.
So
something has to be cheaper, something has to give. So if the food's more expensive or on par in the restaurants, was there anything that was cheaper?
Not that I found, but then again, I didn't exactly go shopping. We stopped to get some snacks on the way.
So you didn't stop at any camera stores?
No.
Everyone stops at a camera store while they're overseas.
No. No, I actually
You disappointed me.
No, I was just happy to go. I think, I didn't even expect flying into Queenstown.
Queenstown? That's definitely not a rock band.
I think we were about half an hour away before landing, and I looked out the window and I just held my breath. There was just clouds and mountains everywhere underneath me, and I thought, I haven't even landed yet and I'm in love already. It was just so magical, so beautiful, and the clouds were moving so quickly, and I thought, wow. Just wow. And then I got off at the airport and I thought, I know the hotel's pretty close that I booked, and I thought I'm just going to walk because it was just so pretty. Mountains behind the hotels, it looked so picturesque that it's so difficult to, unless you live in the mountains or in an area nearby, you're not used to that. Like, we just have concrete jungle up here, basically.
Oh, yeah, we've got a couple of mountains.
But we've got to drive quite far.
We do.
And to be surrounded, you walking, the hotel's there, right behind it, it's a huge mountain, and it's just magical. Well, I found it magical anyway. So it was great. And the first thing Will said, we met up the next morning, so everyone meet and greet, basically type of thing. He said, what's everyone expecting from this trip? Is there something you want to see? And, my mouth sort of went to say, yeah, this. And then I thought about it and I thought, you know what? Just bring on whatever. I'm just here to enjoy it. And our whole trip was like that. Even the other guys that were with us, everybody's just said that it was one of the best trips because there was no pressure. It was just so relaxed and so enjoyable that it turned out to be fantastic. Don't fall asleep on me.
No, that's just. I'm just listening. I'm captivated by this. So, was there anything in New Zealand that you did not like?
Yeah, I could have stayed longer.
So it was the duration, but that's not nothing to do with New Zealand.
No, but I honestly didn't want to go home. So
But in every
I
place that
didn't
you
like
travel,
the fact that I had to go home.
no, but in every place that you go to, there's always one thing that
No.
basically you don't like.
Yeah, no, there was nothing.
So you were at peace completely.
Yeah,
You were like the Zen master.
yep. I was just so relaxed. I haven't been that relaxed in a long, long time. It was absolutely magical.
Have you ever considered just putting it out there?
Here we go.
No, not here we go. It's
All right, Mickey Mouse, come on, out with
this
it.
is a logical thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered, because you're so into it and you just loved it, have you ever considered moving there?
Yeah.
See, it wasn't out
I
there. It wasn't out
actually
there.
thought
See?
about it. It's funny enough because one of the ladies that was with me, she actually sent me a message last week. She goes, you know, I think she just did another workshop. She lives in New Zealand, so she just did another workshop with Will. And she goes, so are you coming over? And I'm like, yeah. I didn't even have to think about it. I just want to go back.
Okay, so how long is the next trip for?
Well, apparently, I don't think Will's got the unseen tours anymore. I guess he's got little kids, so it 12 days is a long time to be away from your family, which we all understand. But
Yeah, lucky bugger.
but probably, I don't know, 5-6 days, I'm guessing.
And are you going to do it part tour and then travel by yourself as well, or are you?
I probably would if I had someone else to go with. I don't really.
Is this an open invitation for anyone out there who wants to go to New Zealand, is just looking for a partner?
Yeah, no, it's much nicer, I think. Not only seeing things through someone else's eyes, but actually seeing someone else happy when, you're not the only person enjoying the view, and, when that moment comes and you get that magic shot and it's like, yes, you've got someone to share it with, and vice versa. I think that's what I enjoyed about this trip, that everyone was genuine and they were all happy for it. There was no competition, nothing like, of the sort. It was just so relaxed. And that's largely part due to Will, I think.
So huge praise coming from you.
Oh, I don't have enough words. He's absolutely amazing. He's very knowledgeable about the area. He's knowledgeable about the weather. Everything's, he'd be checking the weather right before we get up, before we go to bed. Nothing was planned. We sort of had a rough idea of where we're going, but it was all dependent on weather because the clouds change very quickly.
Nothing was planned because someone else was planning it for you.
Yeah, but even like we would change plans according to the weather. Like we got to Haas and we were going to fly above the glacier, and the weather turned. So we ended up going for dinner and then going to the cinema, and we actually watched a documentary that they did around the glacier where they were flying and filming. And that was absolutely incredible. And then we were going to try in the morning, and sure enough, the weather changed and we flew in the morning. So instead of flying in the evening for sunset, unfortunately, we weren't able to due to the weather and the winds. But yeah.
Wow. All right, so on your next trip, which you're looking for a partner, if anyone out there is looking to fly with Izza, she's a great companion, just so you know.
You got to make me laugh, otherwise you're not coming.
Yeah, she laughs at everything, so it's all right. She laughs at my jokes. I mean, how hard could be to compete against that? So what are the places that you'll be going to on round 2 of New Zealand?
Don't know yet. I'm waiting on Will to actually check.
But isn't there something that you specifically want to see, or are you just going to leave it up to Will?
No, I actually like when somebody else plans it, and I'm surprised because. Even, when you don't understand, it's one of those places where you get in the car and you're driving And the whole way to the next town, I was looking out the window going, oh, oh, oh. To the point where Will said, hey, keep it G-rated, you know. It was just, my jaw just kept dropping. It was just, oh my God. The views and the lakes and the rivers, they're huge and aqua-coloured and, oh, wow. It almost looks a lot like Canada, I think. But somehow it just, it's got that Jurassic Park feel about it.
And that's an interesting way of putting it.
It does.
Well, didn't they shoot most of Jurassic Park there?
I don't know. Did they?
Yeah, there's a couple of movies that have been shot in New Zealand. Don't know if it was Jurassic Park, but
I think it was Lord of the Rings, but I'm not sure. I've never looked it up, so I think that was, I don't know if that was North Island or South Island.
Yeah, I know that there was a number of movies shot up there. As to which ones they were, I've got no idea because I don't really follow it.
To be honest, me neither, but I don't care.
All right, so high praise for Will. So the key points today. Will's trip was sensational. So if anyone's looking for a tour, Will is highly rated.
Fantastic. Funny enough, can I mention something?
You can mention anything you want as long as it's G-rated.
Yeah, it sort of struck me how good he was. When we stopped for breakfast one day and we were just about to get into the car and drive off, and someone yelled out his name, say, hey, Will. And he just turned around to us. He saw who it was and then said to us, guys, I'll just be a second. I just got to say hello to this person. And go, yeah, no problem, you know. We're all good. And one of the other girls actually came out. She goes, oh, I know him. I won't mention any names, but he's a world-famous photographer who obviously was in New Zealand at the same time. And she said, oh, hello, and called him by name because she's done a workshop with him. And he just looked at her and ignored her, totally ignored her. And I thought, even Will just felt and looked quite embarrassed. And I thought, wow, the stark contrast. He was just...
So what you're saying is Will's a nice guy, the other guy was a tool.
Yeah, he was. And I thought, wow, mental note never to go on his tour, even though his photos are amazing, I have to say. He does have talent, but I could not spend one day, I think, on a tour with this person. Wouldn't be able to.
All right, so back to point number one. Will's trips are very good. He's down to earth. He takes you to great places. It's become an episode about Will. So if Will's out there listening, you know, you can't get more praise than that. So you're going back again. Sensational place.
Yeah.
Highly recommended.
Very much so.
Would you take kids with you?
Probably not on a photography tour, but if you're doing a self-drive, and, you know, why not?
Actually, on the subject of self-drive, did you ever hear the episode we had with a character on the show called Jean, who was an avid listener who had a few questions, and we had him on the show?
Yeah.
This was probably like 10, 15 episodes ago.
Yep.
He's from New Zealand, and he did actually a tour down there recently.
I didn't know he's from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, so, and he did a drive-through in New Zealand just recently, and he had the family along. And he swore he'd never do that again because he didn't get a chance to take a single photo, because the kids were like, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to go here.
I think if you're going for a holiday, it's a different sort of thing. But if you're going on photography tour, not tour, but even if you want to drive around and take photos with kids and family, it's just I think it's too complicated.
It is, and
you either need to go for a holiday, or you're going to be upset that you can't take those photos when you do see those chances, or the other way around.
Oh, look, I disagree with you on that because unfortunately I've got young children and I can't leave them at home for long periods. So there's times where I go by myself and my photography buddies. There's other times where I go on the family tour, drag them along and make it a photo session. You know. And what works for me is basically go out during the day, have a good time with the family, you know, scope the place out, make some mental notes in your head, and then take them back to the hotel. And when they get to bed, climb out the window and go take photos till 6 o'clock in the morning, and then come back and, you know, seem all tired and stuff. And
look, there's always a way around things, but
that's what I do every time I travel. So
I tend to, you know, I can go to a spot and I can easily spend 3-4 hours there just exploring and looking, and I think I've been there 20 minutes. So for me, it's not feasible, and my daughter would just be like, "Oh my God, can we go now?"
I'm a photographer and I've gone out with you and I feel that way. So, it's like I'm sitting there like...
I don't like rushing people, and I don't like feeling rushed. I like to absorb where I am.
Actually, can I bring up a story about when we went out to a photo shoot? I think it was Mornington Peninsula. And we climbed down this massive hill to a beachfront. And we're taking photos, and you dwindled off, and you vanished. And the tide started coming in.
Cape Shank.
Right? Yeah, it's Cape Shank. And so the tide started coming in, and I turned around, I looked around, I'm like, where the hell is she? Right? Now, you didn't tell me where you were going, so automatically I thought, well, she hasn't gone anywhere. She's just gone around the corner somewhere, she's taking some photos. So I pack up my gear, I walk around the corner, there's no one there. The tide's coming in even further, and there's jagged rocks everywhere, and and I'm thinking, if you had fallen over those rocks, you'd drown straight away. So I'm sitting there searching.
Me.
I am searching for you. The fear of God's in me that you've drowned for over an hour. I'm panicking. I'm searching. People are looking at me like, what's wrong with this guy? And so I'm carrying this camera gear on my back, climbing over rocks, boulders, standing on it. In the end, I finally gave up, and I climbed up the stairs, and I'm like trying to get a better view. And as I'm standing there trying to find you, this is, mind you, over an hour and probably 20 minutes of me panicking that you've drowned. I hear this screaming from the top of the car park. I turn around, you're waving at me from the car park, a kilometre away. And I'm just like, what the... So
I remember that.
if anyone decides to go travelling with you, just know that she just walks off and vanishes, and you just don't know where she is.
No, it's not that I want to. It's just I'm in my own little world.
You went back to the car to make a toasted cheese sandwich with the iron.
No, no, I had no iron with me then. But I think I got cold, and I think I put some...
it's not hard to say, hey, I'm going back to the car.
Yeah, but you were like a kilometre away, as you said, by the time I explored that side.
Yeah,
so
you could have come back.
Scream over everyone.
It's courtesy. So if you're doing photos out there, people, and you're with another person, tell them where you're going.
It's okay. Next time I'll get my torch and I'll Morse code you. Okay, so
there's going to be a next time, isn't there? I'm going to push you down the rocks next time.
I thought you were going to, when you said... Mornington Peninsula. I thought you were going to say about that trip we went on
with the boat,
whale watching.
The whale watching, yes.
The whale watching with no whales, but a big storm.
Yeah, so we hired a little, I want to say it's a dinghy. This thing was like a tugboat.
No, it was a big boat.
It wasn't that big. Come on.
It wasn't huge, but it was still a big boat. It easily fits 50 people also.
Yeah, most of those people were hanging around the edges vomiting.
Those waves came, and
the storm, the waves. It was. I've never felt so sick in my life.
It was like the Titanic, but with waves.
I actually have to say I was very proud of myself. I did not vomit. I do not know how I did not.
You were green.
I was green, purple, fluorescent yellow. I was every shade
and every time I said, Evan, you all right? You couldn't even talk.
You're sitting there eating in front of me going, you want some? You want some? And I'm like... The irony behind it was like an hour into these waves where everyone was just churning their guts up off the side of the boat.
I know, everyone was sick.
I saw it in the distance, these rocks, and there was these seals, and they were playing, and I went, my God, that's an amazing shot. And the sun was coming over the top.
Yeah.
It was sensational. I thought, oh my God, this is beautiful. And
it was funny.
I don't think I actually got my camera out that day.
I felt so bad for you. I took lots of photos.
I know you did. That's what I hated about it.
I was holding on to the whatever pole that was outside, and with one hand, and flying up in the air with the other.
I'm just glad that day that you didn't vanish, and then I had to search on the boat to try and find you, and panicking that you've fallen over.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. Yeehaw.
So mental note, if anyone decides that they would like to go to New Zealand with Izabela next year, there's a very good chance she'll leave you behind and vanish, and then leave you panicking, and then she'll take you on a boat where you'll end up wanting to vomit the whole entire day, but she'll be fine.
I said I'm sorry you felt bad.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did.
They didn't even give us lunch till 5 minutes before we came back.
There was no chance I was going to eat lunch.
I was hungry. I wanted lunch.
I think everyone else had like fed the seagulls and everything in the ocean and from the top of the boat when they were vomiting. But yeah, look, Isa, thank you very much for being part of the show today.
That's okay.
Marty wanted to be here, unfortunately couldn't, which is a bit of a shame because I'm sure
Busy man.
Well, he is desperately wanting to go to New Zealand. See, Marty.
Well, whatever you're doing, hey.
Yeah, so he basically is definitely looking to go to New Zealand as well. So maybe you can share some notes and provide him some
Definitely.
direction.
Well, I hear he's just come back from a long way away,
Arctic.
hasn't he?
Yeah, the Arctic, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to hearing about that.
I saw his video, which I'm not sure if he's actually posted publicly, but
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, his video is sensational.
Yeah.
I was very jealous. I wanted to go. But the cost was just ludicrously high.
Yeah.
And no matter how much I wanted to go, I could never afford it. I have to sell the remaining kidney that I had. But yeah, so
it's way out of my budget too. But if
it's
I
something
get
that
that's a lot of numbers.
we're
going.
Yes, I will be that assistant who comes with you to New Zealand.
You can be my camel. Yep.
The only problem is I actually don't do Tesla, so it's never going to happen.
Oh, well, I do every now and then, so.
On the hopes that you'll be able to afford another trip to New Zealand.
I actually had a win, $8.
$8? What, did you could buy a filter for that? No,
No,
you couldn't.
No, you couldn't, yeah.
Can't buy anything for $8 nowadays. But anyway, so look, thank you very much, Isa, for coming. Izabela, sorry, I keep saying Isa. Thanks for coming onto the show, for sharing your experiences about New Zealand. You'd highly rate it. Is there another country that on your bucket list that you want to do after you've visited New Zealand again the second time?
Look, Norway and Iceland are two of my probably most, and Canada, favourite places I'd like to still go, but it's not a trip I want to do alone. I don't think I enjoy the alone trips as much as, with someone. So that will have to wait till I find a photography buddy.
So that is an open invitation for another trip, if anyone else wants to travel with Isa.
Yeah, well, even locally, if anyone wants to go, I'm always up. And
you know what you should do? You should move to New Zealand, start up your photography business there, tours. It would scare the shit out of me, you flying a helicopter.
Oh my God.
We're going to die.
You have no idea.
especially if you're flying, if you're driving a boat it's not driving a boat, it's steering a boat.
Yeah.
That would scare me shitless. But you should do that. Maybe that's something in the future.
Flying? No.
Like a tugboat?
Yeah. I was actually quite surprised I didn't get vertigo up there, but I didn't, and it was just awesome.
Fabulous. All right, one last time. Yeah. If people want to see your photos of New Zealand, where can they track you down?
Isabela, that's with a Z, just in case. I thought I'd better mention that. So Izabela with a Z, 1L, M Photography. So you're welcome to have a look. And if you do
That's on Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah.
Do you still have your webpage, or have you taken that down?
No, I've taken that down.
It was a really nice webpage.
Yeah.
It's a shame. You should put it back up.
I find now that I think I just enjoy doing it for pleasure.
You actually also run a forum on Facebook.
Not anymore.
Oh, you've given that up, have you?
No, but I haven't even touched it it's been quite a while.
That's a shame. People will miss you.
Yeah. People come, people go.
But
Things change.
But now they've got your contact details. They'll be in contact with you again. And that's pretty much the end of the show. Believe it or not.
Good. Did you want my business card?
Sure. I'll post it up on the postcard.
Yeah, it says do not call me.
You are the only photographer I know who doesn't like taking photos.
And the funny thing is, I'm serious.
She is very serious. Every time I try and get her to do a job for me, she's just like, no.
Guys, just whatever your dreams are, just do it. If you can't do it now, plan on it, do it, because life's too short. Be happy.
Yeah. And
be considerate to others and to nature. That's it.
This is getting too freaky for me.
No, it's not freaky.
We never give advice like this on the show. We just make smart ass remarks right at the end, and Marty telling us his email.
Marty's going to come and go beep 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 beep. Nah, I'm not putting that on.
No. But yeah, look. Thank you once again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I still can't breathe. I get anxiety.
Come on, tell me, it's not that bad being interviewed by us, is it?
I think Yeah, no, I'm still shaking.
She's lying. It's actually quite a pleasure being interviewed by us. Plug. All right. Well, thank you very much for everyone for listening. Thanks for joining us again on the 26th episode. And good night from me.
And me too. Much love. Bye.
Bye.